And welcome to The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers. Glad you're joining us this morning. We're talking to interesting people and dealing with controversial and interesting issues from time to time, but no controversy today. This is a subject that's got worldwide support.
It does indeed. You know, we deal with, as you say, controversial and sometimes unpleasant subjects, but that's not today. Today we have a good story, a feel-good story, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and an update on what's going on and what's going to go on, the best anybody can tell.
Dan Mahoney is Vice President of Corporate Communications for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He'll be here to kind of wrap up this second season in Oklahoma City, but also to look ahead and talk about the impact that this organization has had on the Oklahoma City community, even beyond the players on the court. So it's all coming up today on The Verdict. Dan Mahoney next. Stay with us.
A greener planet, cleaner air, a healthy economy, national security, a smaller deficit and a stronger dollar, green jobs, better jobs, energy independence, warmth and light and transportation. These are the reasons Chesapeake champions natural gas every day.
Wilsey, Meyer, Eatman, Tate. We're accountants. We do taxes, business valuations, estate planning, and consulting. And we're right here in Oklahoma, working with the owners of small and medium-sized businesses. Steve Wilsey and Stuart Meyer have the resources and the experience. Wilsey, Meyer, Eatman, Tate in Oklahoma City and Tulsa.
And welcome back to the set of The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers, and Kent's going to introduce today's guest.
We're very pleased today to have visiting with us Dan Mahoney, who is Vice President of Communications and Community Relations with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Dan attended Virginia Commonwealth University for 18 years, was actively involved in radio and TV as an on-air personality, as sportscaster, news director, and the like. For 8 years, he was Director of Communications for Governor Frank Keating here in Oklahoma. In 2008, he joined the Thunder in his current position as Vice President of Communications and Community Relations. He's an awfully busy guy, and we are really pleased he takes some time to join us today. Dan, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you very much. Appreciate being here, Mayor.
Well,
Thank you.
Congratulations on a wonderful season. You brought so much to the community, and I guess in some ways it may be interesting for you because your job is the role off the court. And so, although I think there's a perception that hey, however the team does on the court, that's the level of success. But from your standpoint, and for the obligations that you have to the organization, it's really kind of separate. Could you kind of explain the differences?
Well, it is separate, but together. Obviously, we would be nowhere without our players, and that's the reason we're here, our players and our fans. But to support our players, we do a lot of things off the court. A lot of marketing initiatives, a lot of public relations initiatives, and really what I think is our key off-the-court initiative, that's our community relations. We very much want this team to be connected to the community. That certainly can happen with wins. We saw that this season. It's easy to love a team that's winning. But what we're trying to do is really establish this team and this franchise in the community that will carry you through wins or losses, and will get above the wins and losses category. And we have a very robust and broad community relations program that we put together that our players are very involved with, our coaches are involved with, our whole staff is involved with. We think that's very key, and a lot of it is just our feeling that we have to give back to this community. It's a strong feeling throughout the NBA that you do that. But for us, the unique situation that we were in, relocating and having a tax passed in Oklahoma City to help support this team really, really bonds us with this community, and we want to show that we can give back by doing things in the community.
How do you do that?
Well, you just you start jumping in and offering as much help as you can and meet as many needs as you can. We do have a foundation, the Oklahoma City Thunder Community Foundation. We are building that as we speak. We had a couple, actually during the playoff games, a couple of great nights of auctioning off items. We had a Kevin Durant signed warm-up jacket. We had a Scott Brooks signed coach's clipboard that he used all season. He donated that, and we're trying to raise money through the foundation, but we're also just trying to do good things. We have a very strong youth basketball program that we're starting. We did it last year. We partnered with the city of Oklahoma City. We're doing that with some other area cities in a youth basketball league, but we're also establishing youth basketball camps. We have 6 of them this summer. You can go to our website, which is thunder.nba.com, and register for those. And really just trying to connect, and a lot of it is youth. A lot of it is really reaching out to the youth and doing what we can to help them through our education programs. The Rolling Thunder book bus that we have that travels around town providing books to kids. We're just trying to do as many things as we can to connect to the community.
One thing that has struck me from the very beginning is the not what you do, but how you do it. You seem to put out a quality effort and get a quality result, whatever the Thunder attempts to tackle. Now, just as an example, what I'm referring to is this youth basketball initiative. I wish you'd tell us a little bit more about that, but I want to comment going into it that I know a couple of the people who are non-Thunder employees who are deeply involved in that from a teaching standpoint, and they are the cream of the crop from Oklahoma City in youth basketball. When you start this effort, you've gotten the very best to take it forward.
Well, it emanates from the top. Our chairman, Clay Bennett, has made it very clear that we are the NBA. We are the NBA in Oklahoma City. The NBA brings with it a very, very strong brand that represents not only the best in athleticism and basketball, but the best in quality of a business. And as we reach out into the community, we have that directive from him to be absolutely top-notch. And that, as you say, implies hiring top-notch people and bringing top-notch people into the organization, whether it be full-time employees or whether it be staff that we work with through programs like youth basketball. We have actually partnered with a company based in Cleveland called the National Basketball Academy, and they run youth basketball programs for the Cavaliers in Cleveland, for the Magic in Orlando, for the Hornets in New Orleans. There are about 8 teams total, and we were the latest addition. And they come in, and they actually send someone into town to live and establish youth basketball, to connect to all of the existing youth basketball staff and programs and really bring it together. And then we bring the Thunder brand into it to really beef it up. And so far it's been very successful. We had it sold out the first spring break basketball camp that we did. As I said, we're going to do 6 more throughout the summer.
Just a little personal aside here. About a month ago, my wife and daughter were overseas in London on an elevator. My wife got to talking, and my wife mentioned Oklahoma City, and the person she was talking to said, "You have the Thunder." This was in London. We were in Colorado a couple of weeks ago, and the same thing happened when Oklahoma City was mentioned. It's not saying you have the Sooners or the Cowboys or somebody else. They say, "You have the Thunder." I mean, it's a brand name that's spread wide.
You like
already.
Hearing that? You like hearing that, don't you, Mayor?
Yeah, that's the idea.
Well, they also say, and you have Mick Cornett as mayor.
Yeah,
I left that out.
Well, it's exactly what we thought would happen. When we were talking about relocating into Oklahoma City, when the NBA was talking about Oklahoma City as an NBA market, when we had a campaign for a big league city to pass the tax that was necessary to bring the team, it was one of the goals was to really establish Oklahoma City as an NBA market and to create that sort of international exposure that comes with being an NBA team and being a successful NBA team. It's what comes with the territory, and it's terrific. We've heard from all around the world. Our website has hits from all around the world, people who are following this team. Some of them have a connection to Oklahoma City. We have military that are stationed around the world following us who are from here. But we also have people that have just become Thunder fans and have no connection to Oklahoma. And I guarantee you, knew nothing about Oklahoma City previously, or if they did, it was negative. It was the bombing, it was tornadoes, it was that sort of thing, which, we're glad to be part of that sort of renaissance to really change the image of Oklahoma.
One aspect I know of your marketing campaign is that you purposely did not sell all the season tickets you could have because you wanted tickets available on every game night. When you did that originally, I thought, well, that's got to hurt revenue overall. Let's see how that works out. But now that I've seen it in work and I've seen that the people line up for those tickets, I can see what foresight that took.
Well, a couple of things when we go to sell tickets, season tickets or single game tickets. A, affordability. The NBA requires that we have 500 $10 tickets in the upper level, Loud City. We have about 3,400 of them. We wanted to make sure that this was not viewed as something out of the reach of many consumers in Oklahoma City. We want to make it where, again, we have 3,400 tickets that are basically the same price as going to a movie. So that was a goal of ours. The other goal is to not sell all tickets to season ticket holders. We could have filled the place with season ticket members, but we wanted to make sure that as each game came and went, that everybody had an opportunity. Whether you have relatives in from out of town, whether you have business associates in from out of town, we wanted to have that opportunity where at the last minute you can get tickets. Now, a number of games throughout the regular season, they weren't sold out. And maybe in the first season we did have sort of an impression out there that every game was sold out and it was unattainable for folks to get into the game. The second season, we tried to get the message out that, if you plan ahead, you can get into these games. Now, as you got closer to a playoff situation, that didn't occur. We were sold out. But even then, we had that last minute, and I call it the last minute, the real last minute, where people line up for a raffle to win 25 pairs of tickets and then to sell them the final 75 pairs of tickets. We had about 1,000 people out there on that final playoff game, and it was really great to see that sort of reaction.
I happened to be out there waiting for the arena to open. They were calling off numbers, and you could see the crowd and the anticipation of the opportunity to go to this game. And then during that last game, there was a videotape that showed on the screen of the crowd outside the Ford Center. There were literally hundreds, if not over 1,000 people.
We had about 1,000.
1,000 people lined up on Reno Street between the Cox Center and the Ford Center, watching on a big screen TV just to feel part of the experience.
And that's exactly what it was. We had that Thunder Alley, which is the pregame party that we had for those games, and people that were not able to get into the building for the game but didn't want to go home or didn't want to go elsewhere to watch, they wanted to remain part of the experience, and we had that set up for them to watch the game outside.
All right, Dan Mahoney is the Vice President of Corporate Communications and Community Relations. More on the Oklahoma City Thunder when we return on The Verdict.
I'm Dr. Suzanne Van Kooten, a research hydrometeorologist at National Severe Storms Lab, and I'm a Chickasaw. There's a stewardship there, I think, that's within Native Americans and the protectionist of the land, and are we going to leave things better than when we came in, that came across in how I did my job. I had a true passion for it because I realized that this was what we had always done. We'd always been so involved with the land and taking care of the land, but also taking care of people. So that is truly the stream that you go down as a meteorologist. You want to protect lives and property. The Chickasaw Nation does an amazing job with our education programs. There are no excuses for you not to succeed as a Chickasaw in education. That's fundamental. That's fundamental to the success of the nation, is this education aspect, because knowledge literally is power.
What's your idea of security? A good-paying, sustainable job, a solid economy, less dependence on foreign energy? We can achieve it with the help of one industry, American oil and natural gas. It creates energy, jobs, and a strong economic base we can rely on. New technologies open vast reserves that will supply our energy needs far into the future. Because security, by every definition, is worth protecting.
Dan Mahoney with the Oklahoma City Thunder is with us here on The Verdict. I would expect season ticket renewals are going well.
We've had a very good season ticket renewal process. We don't have a final number yet, but it's in the 90% range.
And that's way above the league average.
That is very, very high for the NBA. And we're very proud of that. But it's a testament to our fans that they are excited about the future of this team, that they want to be back. We had a good after our first season, we had a good in the low 80s. But it's a testament to what we've been able to do to make them excited about the future.
Dan, I know the NBA expects and hopes that its teams will share information, best marketing practices and all that stuff. Do you all find that you gain a lot of information and success stories from other teams?
Absolutely. We work together with other teams all the time. It's a unique situation. We're opponents on the court, but off the court, we're not really opponents.
Right.
We're partners in a league of 30 teams. And we do share a lot of best practices. Some things work that we've shared, some things don't work that we've shared, that we learn from others. We meet, we have league meetings where we all share those things, and it benefits everybody.
Well, and you have acquired not only, of course, home ownership of the team, but you also have experienced NBA ownership with Clay Bennett's prior experience with the San Antonio Spurs, and also you're not you don't have a high management that's just trying to find out what's going on. They've already been through it.
Right, and we have a number of staff that came from Seattle that have worked in other markets and other teams and other sports. We have our senior vice president of marketing has worked in the NHL and Major League Baseball, and we have a lot of experience within our senior structure.
One thing we haven't really talked about is the national media's perception of Oklahoma City as a market. You know, it was fairly mixed when the team moved here from Seattle. A lot of people in the league and in the media had allegiance to Seattle, and it wasn't so much that they had ill feelings about Oklahoma City, but at the same time didn't necessarily feel like the NBA should be pulling out one of the largest and traditionally good markets in the league. Now that seems to have changed somewhat. I think Oklahoma City's kind of established itself as one of the most enthusiastic markets, and it's hard to imagine now that the NBA is not looking pretty good with that decision.
Our conversion initiative worked. All you had to do if you're a national writer and you had, I won't say negative, but cynical thoughts about Oklahoma City as an NBA market, all you had to do was come here and witness, or even watch on television. We had a number of national media. Greg Doyle, a senior writer for CBSSports.com, he admitted, I didn't think this would work. He said that Kevin Durant's one of the most charming players in the NBA, and the fans of Oklahoma City are the most charming fans in the NBA. And I think we did. Our fans won some cynics over, and we're proud of that.
And it's, you know, a lot of people think this is a fairly new market of the NBA, but when you consider the Hornets' experience too, it's 4 seasons in 5 years. And so if there was an opportunity for this to kind of wear off or to be some sort of fad, it would have happened by now, but the experience only seems to be increasing.
It is, although we're always watching for that. We want to make sure that this isn't just a novelty in Oklahoma City. And that's why we're establishing a lot of things and really connecting with the community to make sure that people know that you can't just judge the success of the team based on last night's win or loss. You can't even judge the long-term success based on one season's record of wins and losses. You really have to look at how the fans are reacting to the game experience, what sort of thoughts they have about what's next, what's ahead, not just on the court but off the court, and how we're connecting with the community and becoming a part of the community that the community can live with and succeed with for a long time.
What do you look at in your position with the Thunder to try to assess the fans' reaction to the Thunder's programs, not just the wins or the losses, but the Thunder being in the community? Of course, you can look at attendance, but after attendance, what other things do you look at to see what the fan reaction is to what you're doing?
Well, I think attendance is key, and long-term support in season tickets and corporate sales. Our business development department we've had very strong reaction from the business community in Oklahoma City, which, Mayor, as you know, is very strong, and they've been very responsive to what we've done. But also we poll our fans all the time. We have season ticket member emails that go out constantly getting their feedback. We do certain surveys of them, and then we bring them into games toward the end of the season. We would have a suite open where they'd come in and we'd listen to them, and we'd whiteboard and do all the things that you do to get reaction. And we would respond to those. I mean, they're the ones who know best what they want, and we're there to give it to them.
Well, the publicized events you have off the court seem to be well attended by fans. Even it's not an event, but even the fans showing up at the airport to welcome the Thunder back from a trip or so. When players are out in the community doing things, there seems to always be a pretty big turnout.
Well, we had very strong turnout. You know, we like to do what we can to show our fans our appreciation. Our premium season ticket members, all of our season ticket members, we had events for them toward the end of the season where we invited the entire team to come visit with them, and they were very, very well attended. we talk to folks at other teams who say that maybe they aren't as well attended, but we have very strong attendance and had a lot of interaction with the players and the fans to make sure that the fans know how much the players appreciate them.
Okay, are these players coming back? Are you going to be able to sign all these players again and again and again?
Boy, if I could tell you that, I would do it in a second. We love our guys. Obviously, all that is left to our general manager, Sam Presti, and our chairman, Clay Bennett, who will do the absolute very best to make sure that this team succeeds now and in the future.
The perception from the fan side, and that's including myself, is that the team seems to like each other. They seem to get along well and enjoy playing together. Is that an accurate perception?
Absolutely. These guys, and you hear it from other teams, just how amazing it is that these guys are such friends off the court. Other teams say, the guys are teammates in other teams, but they don't have the bond that these guys have. A lot of it is that they're young. This is the youngest team. Once we got Eric Maynor on our roster, it became the youngest team in the league, which is a good thing. And these guys are just a strong bond. A lot of it is through their coach too, through Scott Brooks, Coach of the Year. Very strong as a player. Instills that in his guys to make sure that they're strong teammates and friends. You notice it on Twitter when they're sending messages to each other. I mean, these guys, when they're not on the court playing basketball, they're probably with each other, having fun somewhere else, doing something else, whether they're working out or whether they're going to dinner. I mean, they're very, very good friends. And that really helps on the court and in the area of travel. And I mean, they spend 82 nights a year together playing basketball. And they spend the rest of the year as friends. This
show airing in the last half of May. Kind of take us through the timeline of what's going to happen over the next 2 or 3 months for people who want to follow this team. What should they be looking forward to?
Well, the first thing, number one, we're on the business side throughout May, we're talking to season ticket members and making sure for next season that they're set, that they're in the seats they want to be in, and we have ways that we can kind of upgrade and relocate them if they want to. On the basketball side, of course, the NBA draft is in June. We don't have to worry about the lottery this year, which is kind of a nice thing.
In general, what picks do the Thunder own going into this draft?
We have, I think it's 21 and 25. We have our pick and we have the Phoenix Suns pick.
So you have 2 first-round picks.
We do, and that's for Sam Presti and his staff to decide what to do with those. All sorts of options. They are assets that you do whatever you can do to make the team better, and that's Sam's goal. And then we have Summer League in July, where some of our younger players will go to Orlando and play against other NBA players. Don't know which ones will be going yet. That's still to be determined. But these guys, we have players like Kevin, who's going to go back to school at Texas. We have Jeff Green, who goes back to school at Georgetown, and Russell will go back to school at UCLA. They all have, because all left school early, they all have a goal of getting their degrees. So, but in the middle of all that, they'll be playing a lot of basketball too, and staying conditioned and staying competitive.
There are what happens in the off seasons? When do the players come in? Do they come in monthly or once a summer? How often will the players be in Oklahoma City?
Oh, they'll come. Just some of the younger players who will participate in summer league will probably come just before that happens and work out a little bit here. But then they're not required to report until closer to training camp in October.
Talk to us about your assessment of the corporate partners that the Thunder has. I mean, how do they compare, for instance, with other cities insofar as responsiveness and interest and willingness to help?
Well, I can just tell you, we have an outstanding group of corporate partners. From our founding partners, Chesapeake Energy, Devon Energy, MidFirst Bank, the Oklahoman, and Sandridge Energy. They're the ones who got us on the ground here, and they are our cornerstone partners. Then we have some other partners like Integris and Cox, American Fidelity, some great companies that, and I hesitate to start listing because you can't name them all, but they help us in so many ways and are so supportive of what we do. When we had these T-shirts that we were giving out in our 3 playoff games, we had our partners step up and help pay for those, and I think everybody saw how well that was received. And it's because of partners like Chesapeake and Cox, and then U.S. Fleet Tracking that did that 3rd night of the playoffs, and we can't say enough about our corporate partners. They're terrific. Dan
Mahoney with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Thanks and congratulations on this on-court success, and continue as this organization gets entrenched in the community. Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan.
All right. Kent and I'll have a final word when we get back.
seconds on the clock. The Tigers have no choice but to go for it. Wiggins had to do the kicking. Here's the snap, and the kick is away.
The good life comes naturally to Tulsa, where nature's beauty is matched with an eye for aesthetics. A legacy of neighborhoods graced with lawns and landscaping and handsome homes. A place that seems to have patented an ideal lifestyle. Bank First is loyal to the quality of life Tulsa assures its citizens, to the priority placed on education, culture, and growth. Loyal to builders who transform raw land into residential charm. Developers who see opportunity and add vitality to Tulsa's economy. Bank First serves both enterprise and private lives that need a loyal partner. It's how we help nurture this city's very good life. Bank First. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information. And for almost 30 years, Oklahoma political, government, and business leaders have turned to the McCarville Report for accurate, reliable, inside information. Visit the McCarville Report online.
We are back on The Verdict. We just finished a show about the Oklahoma City Thunder with Dan Mahoney, who's in charge of corporate communications.
Yes, Dan's been doing things in this area for a long time here in Oklahoma very successfully, and not surprisingly, he's now working with the Thunder and continuing that good work.
Yeah, the community relations an integral part of what they do, and it all the way is to the mascot rumble, to the season ticket sales. It's not just guys playing basketball. I mean, this is a business. They want to be part of the community, and they certainly represent the community worldwide. And so far, so good.
Well, they've done well on the court and off the court. I don't know what more we could ask.
But we will.
But we will. We'll think of something. Yeah.
We'll be asking more. The expectations always rise when you're talking about a professional sports team. Some website information for Dan Mahoney and the Thunder: nba.com/Thunder, nba.com/Thunder. Or if you have an idea about a show you'd like to see here on The Verdict, let us know. We're at theverdict.tv. For Kent, I'm Mick, and we'll see you next time on The Verdict.
The preceding program was produced exclusively for the Cox Channel.